at number one for my favorite villain type character of all the Christian comics we've covered is Allister Morgan from the Black Blossom. Because Allister Morgan's suit is rather dapper. One of the best design characters that I've seen throughout all the I should also do a tail list like that eventually. Of all the best character designs of everyone. I like Allister Morgan's silver face and suit is one of my favorite designs. I think I say that about a lot of people because I have a lot of favorite designs. After you cover 60 comics, you get a lot of favorites. But Allister Morgan's official background, at least from one of the Star-Crossed character breakdowns, is in addition to his own personal fortune, Allister commands an extensive shadow network of soldiers, technicians, and wealthy acolytes known collectively as Ascension. They have access to bleeding edge technology in weapons, vehicles, satellites, and a few secret projects. After its founding, Ascension vanished from the grid, managing to stay off radar from even the most tenacious of intelligence agencies. Now that is a short, very, very short drop in the bucket of Allister Morgan in Black Blossom, and why he is my favorite villain. If you haven't read Black Blossom issues 1 to 7 and don't want that story spoiled, I would recommend that you click off of the podcast here and go pick it up over at Star-Crossed Comics. Support the boy Evan David, because I'm about to drop all the info in regards to Allister Morgan right now. So Allister Morgan, when he was a young boy, his mom succumbed to, I think it was cancer. I cannot remember 100%. I believe it was cancer. His mom succumbed to cancer, and he prayed that his mom would be saved, that she would be healed, and that she wouldn't die. But his mom, unfortunately, passed away, and when she passed, he grew a hatred for God, and he became an atheist from his hatred for God for allowing his mother to pass away, regardless of how much his mom prayed or how much he prayed and his family prayed. God still allowed his mother to die. And from becoming an atheist, he made it his main mission in life to disprove God in every facet and corner of every facet and corner. Like when it comes to every like scientific discoveries, anything that he could do to disprove God, he wanted to. And the pinnacle of that the pinnacle of that journey of disproving God was he amassed a lot of fortune and wealth and the secret organization Ascension, and started going into research of extraterrestrial life. He started to communicate with extraterrestrial life, and in communicating with extraterrestrial life, I believe there's also some paleontological findings that he had as well, like dinosaur bone findings that kind of adjusted his belief, finding dinosaur bones with human bones, giving him more considerations to take into factor with his research. But as I say, the pinnacle of his journey of disproving God was when he started to communicate with extraterrestrial life. And in communicating with extraterrestrial life, he got an answer back. And the answer back was from this being named Monarch, who existed, or at least how it was presented, existed on a different dimensional, or existed in a different dimension. And they contacted with him and all that, and he, at least how it was written, it was like, finally I have these aliens exist or whatnot, so they therefore disproving God and being some different dimensions. But what Monarch came and tell him is like, oh no, the God of the Bible is real. He's really real. We believe in him. We believe in him. And he gave Allister Morgan the whole rundown of the fall. Like the fall of Satan and the angels from heaven. And from that, well, Evan David did clarify that Monarch is not a demon. He is a being from a different dimension, and all of that whole extraterrestrial aspects is inspired from a C.S. Lewis novel of the same nature, of doing a kind of what if of a life on other planets or I can't remember. I don't like speaking on things I'm not 100% sure on, but that is what most of the nature of it that Evan David interjected into Black Blossom. But at the time when I reviewed it, I viewed the monarch. He was like, he looked like a demon. He sounded like a demon. He is a demon. That's how I wrote it up, but it's not a demon. But from the perspective that he was a demon, to me at the time, it was like, this is a whole James, I think, I can't remember the scripture, but that scripture in James where it says, behold, you believe in God, that is good. For even demons believe in him and tremble. And the fact that they took this whole angle of the main kind of like villain archetype of this story, this believe in God and everything, doesn't believe in God, he doesn't believe in God, just doesn't believe in God, decides that now he believes in God because he was introduced to God from an extra dimensional being that tells him like, no, the God of the Bible is real and everything you know about God is real. Was like, that's the first time I've ever seen that concept done in any of the comics I've covered, and I was blown away last year August when I read this comic. And from that, Monarch and Allister Morgan began to concoct a plan of how they would then go and take salvation. They would then how a plan to take salvation without going through God, because Monarch knows how to get into paradise without using without salvation through Christ. And that was the whole thing that's the whole thing on what Ascension was built on that idea of building this extraterrestrial device that could punch whatever hole through space and dimensions that would get them to heaven without needing to go through salvation through Christ. So in comes, they build the Omni tool, which is what Michi, the Black Blossom herself, the suit that she uses was in one of their testings of the device that they were building. There was a malfunction where it eventually ended up in Michi's hands, giving her the ability of what she does as a Black Blossom to create all kinds of constructs using the suit and just whatever powers that she could imagine. That's what the suit was doing, and with it, their plan was to use it to open a portal to heaven. And they captured Michi, kidnapped her, and gave her the whole rundown like, no. Michi as well was an atheist. Michi didn't believe in God or anything like that. She thought all of that was just mad mumbo jumbo, all kind of religious nonsense that Allister was speaking. As well as with having Monarch and everything, it was like, I don't understand what's going on, but I know it's just like, let's say it no God related nonsense or whatnot. And along the story, I think in issue 4 or 5, they persuade her that like, no, like all of this is real. I hate it. I hate the fact that it's real. And Allister Morgan went from being just an atheist to Mr. Theist, which is someone who doesn't really believe in God, but hates the idea of God and wants everyone to hate God. So Allister Morgan went down that whole route of like hating God and want everybody to hate God, and he has the whole Ascension. I pretty much call it a cult, the Ascension cult, because that is what they were portrayed as. And with Michi, they were able to open the portal to heaven. They got her to use the suit to open the portal to heaven. And Allister Morgan was excited. It was like everything I've spent all my fortune on, getting all these people rallied together for the wealth and everything. They were celebrating. They were happy that they finally punched this hole through space, got all the information from this extraterrestrial entity, extraterrestrial being, Monarch, and whatever other beings that were helping them alongside, and they got their they got their device, punched the hole through space, and have this gateway that leaded them to heaven. And they were excited and about to step into heaven. And I don't know, I think the plan was to overthrow God or show God that we don't need you or whatnot. They were ambitious. Their goal was ambitious. And with ambitious goals could sometimes come ambitious, very like amazing rewards from the ambitious goals, or horrendous failure from the amount of hubris it takes to pursue a goal like that. Because from the ambitious goal, they did open a portal to heaven, But something emerged out of that portal to heaven, and it was none other than the same angel from Ugg the Battler wielding the two swords. The cherubim angel that was appointed to guard the gate of heaven. That same cherubim exit through that portal and was like, listen, stop what you're doing and be spared. Continue and be put down. Simple order, simple instructions, nothing more, nothing less. And Allister was just like, I am going to achieve what I want to achieve, and I do not care. And the angel like warn him again, stop, you have been warned, stop and be spared. Allister was like, nope. He told his whole military to open fire on the angel, and the angel was like, fine, bet, and turned Allister into a crisp, just annihilated him from, like, just burnt him to ash and asunder. Not like nothing else, nothing more, just like snap of a finger, Allister was gone. Disappear. End of Allister's story. He has not appeared in anything else in Blockbuster ever since. That issue like changed my whole paradigm. It was like why I kind of like simp Evan David stories, because it hit me. It was the way it was written, the build up, the 5-issue build up to that, into that culmination in issue, I think that was issue 5 or whatnot, of just the motivation of Allister, the relentlessness, the like literally an angel appears before you, telling you like, stop what you're doing, please listen, you don't know what powers you handling with here, stop. And I think it was like stop and be, I don't know if it was stop and be, it was stop, it was a warning, it was like stop and be spit. I'm like, this realm is guarded, just stop. And he was relentless. He was like, no, I am not going to stop. And not stopping, instantly just got turned to ash. And from that is what led Michi to Christ, because from that she got PTSD of that moment. And from the PTSD of that moment, she ended up like meeting a pastor, gave him all the questions that she had and all that, and eventually accepted, I believe she eventually accepted salvation by the annual. But it's weird to say, I know. It's weird to say that my favorite character is the one who got disintegrated early in the story, because it was like issue 4, he got disintegrated into the story. But it's how Evan David wrote Allister Morgan is why I love him so much. Why I love the story, both Evan David, I love his writing, and the character of Allister Morgan, because the way he built him up made him this like just wholly writing around him. It's like Evan David's writing is hard for me to really articulate. You have to read it to understand it, because I don't do Evan's writings justice when I just ramble about, like, I've been rambling for a while, and it's one of some of my favorite comics. It's just like, I don't know, it's mainly because like Evan is the only person I've seen write the sovereignty of God into Christian fiction. Like, a lot of it from what I've covered so far has been like putting, like, really going deep on the making, like, taking superhero concepts into applying superhero concepts into like Christian theme stuff. So it's like the superhero stuff first, then the Christian theme stuff after. But then for Evan is like, he deals with topics where it's like hard theological concepts like sovereignty of God and stuff first, and then comes the whole aspects of the superhero elements of it, because the way he writes it and the way he puts it together is why Allister Morgan is my favorite. I lost for words. It's crazy. I lost for words because it's hard to really articulate what my brain is thinking when I'm reading Evan David's stories. Like, for one of it, like the story of how we presented all this thing with Monarch and stuff, I literally asked my sister if she wanted to voice act Michi and Allister with me, because it was hard to summarize what he was talking about. Like to summarize it, the script was really hard to summarize because the conversation that was going down between them, it was so good that to summarize, it felt like an injustice of the man's writing. And yeah, it's like Allister Morgan, he pushed. He was really cool. He was a really cool villain. When they did the whole how they kidnapped Michi and everything that they orchestrated, it was a really cool moment. But in the end, because of how it showcased his sovereignty of God and even like mercy in a situation like that is like, yeah, you're pushing and whatnot. You understand everything. Yeah, you understand everything. But at the same time, stop. And he didn't stop. And he got what he pretty much deserved when it comes to the sovereignty of God. It's like you open a portal to heaven and an angel literally come before you and like, dude, stop what you're doing. And you're like, no, you keep pushing. And the only thing after that, when you're dealing with that aspect of the sovereignty of God in that aspect is you just get turned into a pile of ash. I probably sound sadistic the way I talk about these stories, but that's just how it is. That's just the best I can articulate it. Because really and truly, I have nothing else. Look, I would just keep talking in circles. So yeah, Allister Morgan is my favorite comic. Is the favorite villain of the comics we've covered simply because of how his life ended.